How's it going, everyone? It is Andre William, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. We also got to put in the disclaimer. I'm not a financial advisor and this isn't financial advice. So just know when you do invest, you're doing it at your own risk. So today we're going to be talking about OCGN, and there's an update that I feel like every investor needs to hear. But before we get started, of course, let's go over the agenda. If you're new to this channel, just to let you know, we have timestamps down below in the description, but I highly suggest you watch this full video, especially if you are a shareholder. So the first thing that we're going to be going over is an article that came out. We know that Covaxin wants to do trials on the 2 to 18 age group. But here's the thing. They're looking at minors and they're saying, are minors even able to be a part of this study, taking into consideration the legal standards that they have within the country? Well, the article is going to be talking about that, going into more details and actually going over why this petition actually came about. Then after when that's done, we're going to be doing a technical analysis. We're going to take a look at the price action. We want to see if OCGN is continuing to respect those areas of support, and is it looking bearish or is it looking bullish? And then we're going to be taking a look at the institutional ownership. We're not going to be taking a look at the institutional ownership because there wasn't any recent updates, but we are going to be taking a look at the short interest information. That is something that is updated daily, so I will be sharing that with you. And then on top of that, I'll be going through the order flow distribution. And then when all of that is done, I'll be giving you guys my final thoughts. So let's get to it. So we're going to go over this article that came out today on May the 19th in regards to Covaxin and their clinical trials. So the Delhi News, Delhi High Court refuses to stay Covaxin clinical trial on children aged 2 to 18, issues notice to the DCGI. A bench of Chief Justice D.N. Patel and Justice Jyoti Singh issued notice on a public interest litigation filed by Sanjeev Kumar seeking direction to quash the order passed on May the 13th, giving permission to Bharat Biotech for conducting clinical trials in children aged 2 to 18. The Delhi High Court on Wednesday refused to grant an interim stay on the clinical trial of Covaxin in children in the age group of 2 to 18 years old. The court, however, issued notices to the Drugs Controller General of India and others on a plea challenging the DCGI's nod to Bharat Biotech for conducting clinical trials for Covaxin in children. The DCGI on May 13 gave permission for the vaccine developed by Bharat Biotech and the Indian Council of Medical Research to be used in Phase 2 and Phase 3 trials in people below the age of 18, the first such trials that will begin in India. A bench of Chief Justice D.N. Patel and Justice Jyoti Singh issued a notice on a public interest litigation filed by Sanjeev Kumar seeking direction to quash the order passed on May the 13th, giving permission to Bharat Biotech for conducting clinical trials in children aged 2 to 18. The Ministry of Women and Child Development also has been made a party to the proceedings. In his plea, the petitioner in person, Kumar, stated that the order of trial rests on the implication that children are signing up as volunteers, but the term itself means a person who freely offers to do something, which children who cannot read or understand a contract are incapable of doing, thus prima facie unlawful, arbitrary, and against the settled principles of law and natural justice. A person can offer to do anything only if he or she is capable of understanding the consequences of his or her action. In this present case, the subject matter of clinical trials being minors, even toddlers, who for the reason that their age only are not capable of even speaking and understanding languages in a proper manner, cannot be supposed to volunteer for the aforesaid clinical testing, the petition states. The petitioner states that since the children who will be a part of the trial will be healthy, their parents cannot give consent for the trials to be conducted, since that would endanger the life of minors. The plea also drives a separation between parents consenting to life-saving surgeries or other medical procedures on their children's behalf, since that is in purpose of saving the life of minors. Kumar seeks invocation of Section 81 of the Juvenile Justice Act 2015 for penalizing parents who volunteer their children in hopes of monetary compensation. The petitioner also sought directions to the respondents to produce details of all of the 525 children who will be enrolled in the trial. The matter will be heard on July the 15th. So this definitely does have an impact on Bharat Biotech and as well as Covaxin studies on the 2 to 18 age group, and it's part of the reasons why I wanted to share it with you guys. Of course, I will continue to keep you updated to see how this situation unfolds. So we're going to be doing a technical analysis for OCGN. So let's take a look at how it performed on the day. So it closed at $8.76, being down 5.81% on the day. On the low, it tested $8.52, and then on the high, testing $9.24. So keep in mind today, we definitely had a choppy market. A lot of stocks ended up being down. So we did see some strength from OCGN today. One thing that was great to see, it was able to hold up this level of support that we've talked about in the past, right here around this $8.50 level. We also do know there's also a support area here at 8, and if it did break through that, we'd be looking to get down into the 770s. But that didn't happen today. We ended up having some strong price action, getting to a high of $9.24. One thing that we do know for a fact is $9 is definitely an area of support for OCGN, and I'd like to see it come back to reclaim that. Do keep in mind in regards to our indicators, right now it is below the 100-day, the 21-day EMA, but sitting on the 200-day. So in order for it to start looking bullish and more stronger, it's going to have to at least reclaim the 21-day EMA and then make that move to the 100. 21-day EMA is right around $8.98. So like I was saying, getting back to that $9 area of support. Now, if we take a look at the RSI down below, it stands at 45. We know this is actually at a point where it is a bit oversold. Again, we are taking a look at the 6-month 2-hour chart. So we already know as far as 50 is concerned, at 50, that's fair value. So just taking all of this into consideration, we want to be able to see a reversal from OCGN. We do know if we end up getting some more news and some updates, that we could definitely look forward to seeing a reversal and some strong price action to the upside. But for now, what we want to see, even if it does continue to consolidate or continue to support and so forth, then what I'd want to look out for is this $8 level to actually maintain itself. Because we know if it goes down to this $8 level and starts kind of bouncing around here in the 7s and it's having $8 being that area of resistance, then we could definitely get into the areas of testing right at the $7 level and as well right around here around 630. So we're now on Fintel and we're going to be taking a look at the short interest information for OCGN. So the short volume ratio stands at 34%. So you already know, ton of short squeeze potential right there. When we scroll down on the page, short shares availability is at 1.3 million, updated 7 minutes ago, and the short ball free rate is at 3.84%, updated 7 minutes ago as well. Taking a look at the history of the short volume ratio, we're used to seeing it in the 30s. As you can see, this started all the way from May the 13th and on, and we also did experience this from May the 11th, and if you average that out, even going on to May the 5th. So being above 30, hey, that is normal. That is okay. We're used to that. So now we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution for OCGN. We want to take a look at what is the inflow, what is the outflow for today. So as we take a look, as far as large orders, it is at 0. And as far as medium orders, it's at 36. And as far as small orders, it's at 18 with a total inflow of 54. In the sense of outflow, large orders were 0, medium was at 49, and then small was at 15 with a total outflow of 64. So we definitely had more selling than buying today overall in general. If we take a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, we didn't see any heavy buying up until May the 14th. The 17th, the 18th, and as well as the 19th, you see for the 19th, it was 0. There were no large orders. But for the 17th and the 18th, there was a lot of selling that was going on. I feel this is key to know because it gives us an idea of what the sentiment of the market is. And that's why it's no surprise when we take a look at the short interest information that the short volume ratio is above 21%, being in that 30 range, thus giving us short squeeze potential, but also letting us know what the overall market sentiment is because they're saying, hey, OCGN needs to be coming down in price. So now let's get into the final thoughts. So for my final thoughts for OCGN, if you are in this particular play as a shareholder and you are holding, it's definitely the time where you need to have high conviction. We know the CEO told us, hey, you're going to be getting an update within the coming weeks. So even if it doesn't come this week, then you're definitely going to want to look out for it coming into the next week. The second thing that we want to take a look at the fact that, hey, the longer this gets drawn out as far as for the update, we're going to have market sentiment getting even worse or getting even more negative, and more people are going to be shorting the stock because they're believing and they're saying, hey, nothing is happening. The stock price needs to go down. People are going to get impatient. I want you guys to think about the psychological aspect here. This is part of the reasons why if you're in this play, you need to have high conviction. Also, going over what's happening down in India with Bharat Biotech, I do see why this is an issue of concern. Like what was said in the petition, they were saying, if you're 2 years old, 3 years old, you do not have the mental capacity to understand and accept, hey, well, you know what, I'm going to be taking the vaccine. Here's what the potential impacts are. But at the same time, they're being enrolled into the study and then their parents are receiving the monetary benefit. And there are issues around that particular ideology. So taking that into consideration, it's going to be very interesting to see how this thing actually pans out. As we know already, I already talked about it'd be a great niche for Covaxin if it could work and it shows efficacy in regards to that age group of 2 to 18. But in regards to justice and as far as legal and regulatory issues, that is something that I feel that you just cannot ignore. And I'm going to continue to keep a close eye on it for you guys because, again, I want to keep you guys updated. And of course, even if we take a look at the analyst price targets for OCGN, it is well in that $10 range. So seeing it at the current price and seeing the current strength that we're actually seeing is really no surprise to me whatsoever. But again, you're waiting on a catalyst, you're waiting and you're pretty much betting on OCGN to get this deal done and to get this submission done. Also, do keep in mind, because I think many of you may have missed it, but for the first batch that OCGN brings into the US, that's going to be manufactured from Bharat Biotech. This is very key to know. So the initial batch is going to be given to Ocugen. So no matter what, they're going to have to wait on Bharat Biotech to be able to get vaccines over to them, all right? So just be aware of that, be in the know of that, and that's part of the reasons why I talk about what's going on in India and why it's impacting or even has any relation in regards to Covaxin and Bharat Biotech. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll be talking real soon.